Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. Now if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday in Major League Baseball. First up, an early game in the NL Central between the Cubs and the Pirates. We got Kyle Hendricks and Paul Skeens on the mound. Now, I think this is just too much of a lopsided pitching matchup in favor of Pittsburgh. You got Paul Skeens on the mound. He's in much better form now. He's in the last game against the Reds, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, no runs, and a 7-0 Pirates win. And, Kyle Hendricks, while he's been a little bit better recently than he was at the beginning of the season, I mean, even his last game against the Marlins, while he only gave up 3 runs, he still gave up 2 walks, 7 base hits, and had no strikeouts through 4 2/3. I think the Pirates get to him for enough to win this game and cover the run line. I'm going to roll the Pittsburgh Pirates on the run line. Next up, we see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Michael Wacha and Tanner Bybee are your starters. We've mentioned that Tanner Bybee's not been the best at Progressive Field this year. I mean, he's got an ERA at 2.81 on the road, but it goes up to 4.2 at home. We saw the last game against the Rangers, 4 earned runs, 8 base hits, and 5 2/3 at Progressive. It was a 5-3 win for the Rangers in the end. And with how well the Royals' lineup's been recently, it's tough not to like their chances against Bybee in this game. Michael Wacha's in good form right now. His last 5 games, 2 earned runs or fewer in all 5 starts. All those ended up being Royals wins. He faced these Guardians earlier in the season in June, pitched well in that one game. I got to go with Kansas City in this one on the money line. You could take them in the first 5 if you don't love that Royals bullpen, but I think they win the full game as well. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Spencer Arrighetti and Taijuan Walker are your starters. I've got to continue to fade Taijuan Walker right now. I mean, since returning from injury, he's had 3 starts against the Marlins, Nationals, and Royals. All those ended up being losses, and really struggled in all 3 of those games. His last game against KC was the worst of them. 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, and 8 base hits in 3 innings. Really just wasn't a competitive outing. And, the Astros have been up and down offensively recently, but I still think they get to Walker. Arrighetti's been better at Minute Maid than he's been on the road, but I still think when you look at his current form, he's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5. I think he's a much better starting pitching option in this game. Give me Houston this one on the money line. Next up, the Seattle Mariners and the Tampa Bay Rays. No official starter for Tampa Bay, but Luis Castillo should be going for Seattle. Now, Castillo, his last 2 games, not pitching well. He's given up a lot of sharp contact, extra base hits, and home runs. He's given up 5 home runs in the last 2 starts to be exact, and in his last 11 1/3 innings, giving up 11 hits and 9 earned runs. His strikeout numbers are still there, and he should be able to miss some bats here, but he faced these Rays back at Tropicana Field earlier in the season, did not fare too well in that game. 4 earned runs, 5 1/3 innings, and that ended up being an 11-3 Rays win. Right now, no official starter for Tampa Bay, but they do have a strong bullpen. I like the Rays in this one. Probably going to get a really good price as well. Give me Tampa Bay on the money line. Next up, we go to Nationals Park as the Yankees take on the Nationals. Carlos Rodon and Mackenzie Gore are your starters. Now, other than that one game against the Tigers on August 17th, Carlos Rodon's in great form right now. He's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5, including that last game against the Rockies, a bounce-back start for him. 6 innings of shutout baseball with 5 strikeouts in a 3-0 Yankees win. They've won a lot of his games recently and on the run line as well. I like him on the run line here. I mean, Mackenzie Gore had a bit of a bounce-back start in that last game against the Braves, but still gave up 7 base hits in the end and 6 innings of work with only 4 strikeouts. I think the Yankees can really get to him for a few runs early. I don't really love this Nationals bullpen right now, so give me the Yankees on the run line. Next up, the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Detroit Tigers. Griffin Canning and Kaiser Montero are your starters. Not my favorite game on the board, but I mean, the Tigers have been playing pretty good baseball recently, and now they're quietly still in the mix here in the AL wildcard race, and they have a pretty weak strength schedule, the rest of the way, obviously here with the Angels, but they also get the White Sox at the very end of the season one more time. Maybe they can make a run. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in September in Major League Baseball, but when you look at this matchup, I just think that Montero is the better option, and I think the Tigers have the much better lineup. That's the key for me. The Angels have been solid against lefties, but not doing much at all against right-handed pitching in August. I think Detroit can get on the board here against Canning early. And with Montero, I mean, he's not having a great season, an ERA above 5, but his last 5 games, he's given up 3 earned runs or fewer in 3 of the last 4. He's definitely trending in the right direction. The Tigers have won his last 4 starts. Give me Detroit in this one on the money line, maybe the run line as well. Next up, we'll go to Great American Ballpark as the Athletics take on the Reds. We're going to see Osvaldo Bido for Oakland, no official starter for Cincinnati. I've backed Osvaldo Bido as my best bet, actually, the last two starts of his against San Francisco and Tampa Bay. And while the A's only scored a combined 5 runs in those two games, they both ended up being victories because Bido's in great form right now. He's given up just 1 earned run his last 3 starts combined, 2 earned runs or fewer his last 4 games. His strikeout numbers are there. He's keeping the ball on the ground. Now, this is going to be a tough matchup at Cincinnati, in a very hitter-friendly ballpark. But, the A's have won his last 3 starts. Their bullpen's in great form. Their offense has been so-so in the month of August, but I'm going to roll with Oakland in this one. I'm going to take them on the money line. I think we see more of a lower scoring game than we're used to seeing at Great American, but I'll give me the A's on the money line. Next up, the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. Chris Bassett and Brian Bayo are your starters. Now, Bayo has a winning record. He's been a profitable pitcher for Boston, but he's not really having a great season. 4.95 ERA on the year. We saw him struggle again in that last game against Arizona. That ended up being a 12-2 Diamondbacks win. And both of these starting pitchers have faced the opposition twice this year. Bayo in 8 1/3 combined gave up 9 earned runs, 12 base hits, and a 9.72 ERA, while Bassett in 2 starts against the Red Sox pitched really well in both of those games. 2 quality starts, and it ended up in 13 combined innings, a sub-3 ERA. So for me, I got to roll with the Blue Jays. Their offense has been, doing pretty well in the last couple of weeks or so. They've definitely improved. And, they have an outside chance here in the American League wildcard race. Obviously, they were sellers at the deadline, so I don't really love their chances. But they're playing much better ball than we've seen them play all season. So I'm going to roll with the Blue Jays right now. Next up, the Atlanta Braves and the Minnesota Twins. Chris Sale and David Festa are your starters. David Festa was pitching really well up until that last game against St. Louis. And in that last game, he wasn't the sharpest. Gave up 3 earned runs in just 3 2/3 innings. He had 5 strikeouts, but a couple of walks to go with it. I am a little bit worried about him in this spot. I don't really know what we're going to see from Festa, so I'd rather just isolate this game to the Twins' bats against Chris Sale. Chris Sale's having an amazing season this year, 14-3 record, 2.62 ERA. However, the Twins are a tough matchup for a left-handed pitcher right now. In the month of August, a very low strikeout rate, good OPS and isolated power numbers. I think Sale could struggle a little bit in this game, and I think the Twins can go over their team total in either the first 5 innings or the full game. I'm going to roll Minnesota's team total over in the full game in this one. Next up, we see the San Diego Padres taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Joe Musgrove and Andre Pallante are your starters. I thought Pallante was pretty impressive in that last game against the Twins. He started the game not the sharpest, but he was able to get out of those jams, and he was able to go 7 innings of 1-run ball and a 6-1 Cardinals win. He's been better recently, but I still don't think it's going to be enough here for St. Louis. Joe Musgrove's also in excellent form on the other side for San Diego. His last game against the Mets, where that's starting to be a big-time rivalry between Musgrove and the Mets. If you go back to a couple of seasons ago in that wild card game, we know that there was some tension in that one. But Musgrove was excellent against the Mets. 7 innings and 9 strikeouts, shutout baseball in a 7-0 Padres win. Since returning from injury, the Padres are 2-1 in his first 3 games, and he's only given up 1 earned run. So I got to go with San Diego in this one. I trust their starter more, their bullpen definitely, and their lineup as well. Next up, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Kyle Harrison and Freddie Peralta are your starters. Freddie Peralta's in better form right now, and he's got that ERA below 4 again, but he's also in his last 3 starts had less than a strikeout per inning in all those games, with 2+ walks in all those games as well. And for me, it's a concern. Now, I know the Giants aren't necessarily the best lineup in baseball against right-handed pitching, but they've been decent, especially in the power department. I could see them finding a home run or 2 against a starter like Peralta, who's given up at least 1 in 4 of his last 5 games. Kyle Harrison's in solid form, and the Brewers, they're ranked 25th in baseball against lefties in isolated power in the month of August. I'm going to roll with the San Francisco Giants in this game on the money line. In our next game, we see the Texas Rangers taking on the Chicago White Sox. Chris Flexen for Chicago, no official starter for the Rangers. I sound like a broken record, but we have done really well fading Chris Flexen and the White Sox along this big-time losing streak. There's no reason for me to stop going against them here. The White Sox, we've mentioned it every time he starts. They have not won a Chris Flexen start since May the 8th. They've only won 2 Chris Flexen starts all season. Both of those were against the Tampa Bay Rays. Other than those 2 wins, they've lost every single game. So he's been he's been the least profitable pitcher in baseball. And even if he pitches well, we saw him go 4 innings, a shutout ball against the Cubs, a 3-1 loss. 6 innings, a 2-run ball against the Tigers last time out, a 5-2 loss. So a lot of those losses are also run line losses. Maybe worth a look there. I got to continue to fade him. I think he will eventually win a game before the end of this season, but I don't think it's going to be this one. I'm going to go with the Rangers on the money line and run line. Next up, the Miami Marlins taking on the Colorado Rockies. We're going to see Max Meyer and Kyle Freeland as the starters. I'm going to roll with the Rockies in this game. Max Meyer, young pitcher, no Coors Field experience. He's not in great form right now. I think it's a bad combination at Coors Field. And, Kyle Freeland's been better at Coors this season than he's been on the road. Recently not been the best, but last time out, 6 2/3, 2 earned runs against the Yankees. You'll take that all day long. It wasn't enough for Rockies wins. They didn't back him up offensively, but I still think he's one of their better options in this rotation. Give me the Rockies in this game on the money line and run line. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Luis Severino and Brandon Pfaadt are your starters. I think Brandon Pfaadt's a solid option in his Diamondbacks rotation. He's definitely been a profitable option recently, but also recently he's given up a lot of base hits and a lot of base runners. 7+ hits in 4 of his last 5 games and 4 earned runs plus in 3 of his last 5 games. He's faced a pretty weak strength of schedule, and which is also a concern right now. The Pirates twice, the Guardians, Rockies, and Marlins. None of those lineups really scare me, even though the Guardians have been solid this year. I think that the Mets are the toughest lineup he's faced in quite a while. That's a concern when you got Severino pitching as well as he has on the other side. We saw the complete game shutout against the Marlins. We saw 5 innings of 1-run ball against San Diego last time out. I think Severino's the better option right now, and I think the Mets are the side in this one. I'm going to go with the New York Mets on the money line. Next up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Corbin Burnes and Walker Buehler are your starters. This is a tough one for me because both starting pitchers are not in great form. We know Burnes has had a great season overall, but he's getting absolutely crushed recently. 13 earned runs his last 2 starts combined against the Red Sox and Astros. It's not going to get much easier here at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers. On the other side, though, Walker Buehler has not had a great season at all. 6.09 ERA. He's not in good form. Even his last game where the Dodgers were able to win at 6-3, he still gave up 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 base hits in 4 innings with only 1 strikeout. We're still waiting for that strikeout stuff to return. It hasn't been there. This is a tough one. I'm going to lean towards the over. It's just, if I was to lean towards a side, I guess it would be the Dodgers because I do trust their lineup a little bit more right now. The Orioles in the month of August have not been great against right-handed pitching, but honestly, I could see both starting pitchers get into trouble early in this game. Maybe take the first 5 over. It'll be a game I'm staying away from and rather watch as a fan, but I'll lean towards the first 5 over and the full game over. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comments section below. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.